Welcome. I'm Tracy Carrion, and this is Keep It Real, and I'm very happy to have you here today. So, in my last video, I talked about superordinate goals. And I mentioned that in the next video, I would talk about something called flow. I think I mentioned that. And so that's what I wanted to do today. And I actually have a little PowerPoint for it because there's an activity I would like to take you through when we talk about it. So if you have something to write with and on, that would be very helpful. That would be great. If you don't, maybe you want to pause this and get something and come back to it. All right, so I'm going to put myself in the corner. For all of you, you may be familiar with flow, but just to give you a little introduction here, flow is a psychological term or psychological concept that was developed by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. So has even a little how to say his name there. He was born in 1934 in what is now Croatia, distinguished professor of psychology and management at Claremont Graduate University, and founder and co-director of Quality Life Research Center. So he's 85, 86 now, I guess, or will be, and still, I think, very active in this community. And this is the cover of his book. I meant to find it in my in my bookshelf. But this is the cover, Flow, the Psychology of Optimal Experience. So this is something he became known for and really studied throughout his career, this idea of flow. So what exactly is that? Well, that's my next. For some reason, I sometimes have trouble getting this to go to the next one. There we go. And I will hide myself. Hopefully it's hiding me. If not, I'll put myself up here in the corner. Sometimes I have issues with this. Sorry about that. So the tenets of flow, or what flow is, this sort of graph here talks a little bit about it. It's the way we experience something, an activity or anything that we're doing. And flow is being kind of, we've maybe heard that term, I'm in the flow, I'm in the zone. And the zone is the flow zone to some extent. You can think of it like that. So it's where our skills match almost perfectly. It's that sweet spot where our skills and our level of interest in something matches almost perfectly the activity and the level of difficulty and challenge of the activity. And it provides us with these six things. A focused concentration. We feel very focused in it naturally. To kind of jump down to number six, that there's an intrinsic motivation that we have to do this. And so that gives us a focused concentration. We don't have to force ourselves to be involved in it. That we lose time while we're in that activity. We're not constantly looking at the watch or the timer to see how long it is and how much more do we have to do of this, and that we are so in it. And that's kind of number three, that merging between doing of something and being aware of it, that we're not thinking about ourselves doing it, and we're not like doing it with this other sense of when can I get out of it, but we are actually really aware and vitally involved in what we're doing in a way that it all comes together and we're just there in the moment. It's truly it's mindfulness at its most extreme, that we are so there in that moment that we're not thinking about being in the moment. That our sense of self becomes immersed in that moment, like who we are meets the action we're doing, meets the awareness of it. Again, it's that real sweet spot. And we're doing it with a sense of competence and an ability to cope. So we feel confident in it. That degree of challenge that you might see on the graph is almost perfect. We're not bored, but we're not overwhelmed or anxious. That we feel like we have what we need, but it's still challenging us to strive to be our best, and that we can cope with whatever happens in the midst of it. That we have the tools and the skills to cope with what we're doing, and it gives us an intrinsic reward. We're not looking for something outside of ourselves to be rewarded by. It is just in the doing of it that we find that joy and that pleasure of doing. And so that's that zone. You can see, like, you could call that little space there where it says flow in the graph zone. That is the zone. That is flow. Um, so that's what it is. And it might be like, well, I have no idea what that is, but I want you to spend a little time with this idea. And let's see if I can. There we go. So here is an activity for finding flow. And you can spend as much time as you want on this or no, or just kind of go with me through it. Or you can stop, pause, whatever you need to do. So 5 steps to this. So first, relax and just think for a moment of 3 separate times when you felt in flow. They don't have to have anything to do with each other. So I know for me, it could be years and years ago, it's been 20 years now, I was volunteering at a halfway house for women in recovery, and I was teaching mindfulness and stress management way back when, and to this group of women who had been on the streets, who had been in prison, who had had really difficult stories behind them. And just when I would start talking to them and their openness and their beauty in meeting me in that space, I felt that. And I feel it in teaching in other times too. That was a special time that I can actually remember. But when I am speaking to audiences, or often I feel kind of in flow. I also have felt it when I am planning vacations. That doesn't sound like it matches at all, but I love to travel, and there are very specific things I love about travel and about planning trips for my family and for my son, that kind of fits this. And being in some of those experiences, um, like swimming with dolphins like snorkeling with dolphins in the wild, was one time. And I know that there are, but anyway, I love dolphins, I love swimming, and I love the ocean. So all of those things kind of came together. When I am having there have been conversations I've just had with a friend before, and having tea and really being together. Those moments come, moments I've had with my family, my husband, my son. So they don't have to have anything to do with each other, but I'd just like you to find 3 if you can, and then write about each experience. Where were you? What were you doing? And how did it feel? If you can really put yourself into that and come to some sort of sensory ideas about what you felt and what did you enjoy most about it. So that's an important one. So is it just, I enjoy hearing myself talk? Could be like for the teaching bit. No, I mean, I think I get caught up in the talking, but it's the energy of the space between me and the students that gets filled with ideas and potentials and something like that. So what is it? It's sharing ideas. It's creating, ahas within myself and within others, potentially. And so what is it that you most enjoy about it? And what was important about it to you? What stands out? Um, and then read through each of your summaries and circle the words from each one that stand out to you, which words define the moment most clearly. And then list those words on a separate page, and then reflect and maybe write down what common ground the experiences share. How are they similar in feel or in action? And again, they don't have to be completely similar. So I did this in a club that I advised, and I had a student once. I love this example, and he was doing this activity, and one of his was that he was a math major. He loved math, and he loved the structure and the kind of right or wrong, the organizational feel of math. And then another was like helping to set up an event and organize that event. So one's math, one's like event planning. They're like two in organization. They're two different things. But it was very kind of simple to see as we went through his that he really loves that sense of finding the order, finding maybe order out of chaos, maybe creating that order. So it doesn't have to necessarily be the what. I mean, be what you're doing. It's the it's the energy behind it that you're looking for. And can you find that in the words that you list or in that common ground that you share? So that's just another way to begin looking at that. Um, so I'm hoping that either you're pausing, you're stopping, you're taking your time with this if you want. And then to give you kind of, I wanted to give you kind of an example, though I think I accidentally pushed pause, so I'm back. I hope that didn't blip you out too much. I'm trying to get to my next slide here. Um, by seeking what puts us in flow, I'm hoping I'm hidden, we get a peek at what most inspires us, what we are most called to share and do. So it kind of might give us a peek at our, you might call it just, I don't know, your soul, your that which is beneath all the everyday stuff to what really means something to you. Flow might help us identify and define our superordinate goal. So here are 3 sentences you can kind of work with after you do the others. I am most alive when I am. You can put whatever you want in there. I feel fulfilled and inspired when I am. 3 qualities or values that are, okay, that should say are. I apologize for that. 3 qualities, values that are important for me to experience, or blank, blank, and blank. So think about, there might be many. I'm sure there are many more than 3. But based upon this particular activity and what you found and what you discovered about yourself, and in um, those common words or common ground ideas, what are the qualities and values that are most essential to you? And so think about that. Write that down. And then I do kind of give an example. This was just me. This means, um, this was just an example. I am most alive when I am making connections, sharing ideas, and experiencing the center. So the center is kind of my space where I've always wanted to like be in the center. It's actually flow, like being in the center of a moment, being in the center of life, rather than feeling like I'm living on the periphery of it, that I'm actually living it. Um, I feel fulfilled and inspired when I am creating and having ahas and helping inspire others. 3 qualities, values. Well, I copy and pasted this. This is why it's wrong again. They're important for me to experience their usefulness, ahas, and connection. So I do like to feel useful in what I do. And then that means that maybe I'm inspiring, maybe I'm teaching, maybe I don't know, helping people find their answers while within themselves. I'm not giving them to them, of course, but that I can be useful in some way. My prayer long ago became use me, the best that I am meant to be used, that I can create and experience. I also want to experience ahas in life. There's things that are of wonder and like clicking into place, to have connection with people and in those spaces. So I could put, and this is one idea for my superordinate goal, a desire to create experiences that inspire ahas in others and myself and make a difference in the way people see themselves, life, and the world. And for me, when I travel with my family, when I create trips for my son in particular, if you read any of my travel blog, you'll kind of get a hint of that. It's about creating unique and beautiful experiences for us so that we can get into the center and have ahas and live in life in that way. Um, and those come up in me and in them and between us and other people as we're doing it. So um, that's that's important to me. So that's one idea. Uh, anyway, okay. So let me come back here. Hi. Oh, I may be frozen in such a pretty way. If I am, I think I'll go small again. For some reason, when I do that, it looks like it freezes for me. I don't know if it is for you. I am not a technology genius, technical genius here. I hope that you find some of this information, I don't know, interesting, inspiring, that it created some sort of aha, connected some dots for you in a way. I hope you will try the activity and that you will enjoy it. So, anyway, and just another way to keep it real. Take good care and have a wonderful, beautiful you day.